Welcome to the bonus match during the quarantine, presented by Pro Flight Paddle. Today we have a special matchup here, a newly made team of Drew Broderick and Martin Bostrom out of the New Jersey area, playing against national champions John Hughes and Mark Powers. Guys, how are we doing today?
Excellent.
Well, Blake, how are you?
Looks like
Doing
a
great.
good day for paddle out there.
Yeah, I think today we're going to see a lot of interesting play. We've got a warm day of paddle here, so the ball is going to be moving quite a bit. And I've seen this team of Broderick and Bostrom play before, and I think they complement each other pretty well. So we'll see what we've got in store today.
Before we get going, Blake, do you want to tell everyone where this match is taking place?
So the match today is on a special secret location on Long Island. Rumor has it that it takes quite a few levels of transportation to get there, but nevertheless, it is one of the previous national championship courts that we're playing on, I believe, from Pittsburgh. And one player on this court has some pretty good knowledge of this court. I think he's been on it for, I want to say, the national final. I don't remember if he won or lost it that year, but this court Drew Broderick has played on in a previous national championship.
So seeing as Pro Flight is his company, we'll say he won the national championship on this court.
Absolutely. Yeah. And for those watching, so Drew Broderick is on the far side, on the ad side of the court, which is the right side. Martin Bostrom is on the far side of the court on the left side, on the deuce side. And I don't remember who's on what side that we can't see right now for Hughes Powers. Oh, there's John Hughes. So
John Hughes, yeah.
So John Hughes is on the near side, the right side of the court. He's playing the ad side, the deuce side there, and Mark Powers is on the ad side, on the lower left.
So real quick before this match gets started too, we are going to see a serve that we have never seen on the tour on any paddle matches. I'll kind of wait, but you can kind of tell Martin Bostrom is hitting a new serve. So everybody just keep an eye when this match gets started. Keep an eye out for this serve because it has game-changing ability.
I played a bunch of paddle right after this match was played, and everyone was talking about this serve.
Yeah, I am hopefully going to be fortunate enough to have it on my side this year.
Yeah. So when people were talking about it, was anybody else hitting it successfully?
No.
Yeah.
No. I think it's a very tough. I think give it time, yes.
Right.
But currently, no.
But it is definitely a serve that needs to be hit in warmer weather. And again, when we get started, hopefully early on, we'll be able to kind of see. But you can already tell with watching this warm up, Mark Powers is kind of shifting his game towards an underhand serve. And that seems to kind of be our theme in the last year or so.
So Blake, as they're getting ready to start here, because you've played obviously with Martin and at some point against Drew, John, and Mark, what are they thinking? What's the game plan here?
So, I mean, all these guys are at an extremely high level. So I think for the most part, it's going to come down to, identifying where the offense is, where the defensive shots should be. Everybody has kind of some sort of game-changing ability with a certain shot, whether it's a forehand, backhand, or at net. But after playing with these guys for a while, it's just there's one shot everybody kind of has that you don't want to give them. And it's really going to come down to who can control their spots a little better.
Cool.
How do you play differently in these conditions? Obviously, paddle played in pretty cold weather usually, and how do you adjust the game plan when it's like that?
There it is.
Oh, shot. John saw the one on warm-ups.
John made that shot look so much easier than it is.
So I'll give everybody who's watching and you guys here over under how many more times does Martin hit that and they hit a winner off of it? I want to say the service hit about 6 more times.
Yeah, it's less than 10 times total. Yes.
Here's another one.
So the interesting thing about that return though was, unlike that first one, he couldn't really do anything that was. I mean, he got it back, but he didn't do anything that was really offensive, obviously, with it.
Right.
Is he going to try that with Mark or just with John?
Success takes hard work. Making success a legacy takes discipline. PPAC Private. Your legacy, our discipline.
That's sir.
So, no, that's actually an interesting question there. So, most of the guys who are hitting the underhand serve, whether it's backspin or topspin, it's a lot easier to hit to the deuce side, just because that's kind of where the natural
Right.
path of their paddle is going.
That's for a righty, correct? Just
Yes, that's for a righty.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the opposite for a lefty.
And then lefties would be the opposite. But yeah, I think, one of the things that I, like to look for is, playing with Drew, he has a certain way of playing. So it'll be interesting to see how he and Martin kind of take balls at net. Both can cut the ball pretty heavily. My thought is they'd want to stay away from Mark Powers' forehand at all costs. So we'll see if that seems to be the theme as we watch through.
So we're also seeing Powers with the underhand serve, although that was the game. The underhand serve, what did we decide? Three of the 4 people who won nationals this year, between men and women, all hit an underhand serve.
I think for the most part. I mean, it's something that probably won't go away for a while because it's pretty important. It takes away a lot of offense. But already you can see how much the ball's bouncing with the heat.
So the question I asked earlier with a temperature like this, so what do you do differently? Do you, I mean, obviously you've got to play for a livelier ball, but do you change your shots because of that versus a cold weather game?
I think a big part of it is you have to control the ball obviously a little more. So it's definitely more of a spin. And there we kind of see one of our first of many cut drop shots there. But a lot more spin to control the ball and keeping the ball low. You really don't need to hit a heavy ball. But more importantly, I know Drew Broderick's one of the guys who loves to hit that overhead that clears somebody out of the corner. So I'm sure he'll have some good success, almost a little hospital visit there.
You don't see Drew backing away from overheads very often. Someone like Martin's a good dominant personality.
But I think Martin is a foot taller than him, so that might have helped.
Yep.
So for those wondering, the ball is not mic'd up. It's just there's a mic strategically placed on the court that makes the sound of impact a lot louder than I think it usually is.
At Veritext, it's not just a deposition. It's the witness that will win your trial. It's the reason you became a lawyer. It's your first case as a partner. It's that case that will make you partner. It's for the families who lost something. It's for that groundbreaking patent. It's for one of the largest companies in the world, or one of the smallest. It's something that will change someone's life forever. At Veritext, it's never just a deposition. We understand it's so much more.
All right.
As we going to change over here for any of like the club players, and Blake as a teaching pro, you can talk about this too. Although these guys want to win, you'll see them practicing things. This is not for a national championship. This is a competitive match, but they're practicing. You'll see some shots they won't normally hit. I personally think it's important for club players to, when you go out to practice, try new things. Don't keep practice. Just don't do what has just been working. Try new stuff. Be inventive, and you might find something that works for you.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. I mean, you have to kind of advance your game, whether it's, getting better at a certain shot or learning new shots. But yeah, normally you'd see a guy like Mark Powers. He doesn't hit too much cut when he plays. But, you can already tell he's kind of taking a little bit bigger hacks at the ball. And even, take a guy like Drew. I think over the last couple of years, he hasn't hit his backhand as much as he wants, and this year he definitely changed that.
That's one.
Was that one of those shots he was trying?
Yep.
Yeah, I think he caught the edge of the paddle.
So one of my first years playing paddle, guys, I tried that shot and caught it beautifully on the side of the paddle and almost took off John Noble's head. And John's the nicest guy. He was very cool about it.
It's a good attack shot by Mark Powers.
And notice too, one thing I'll point out to people watching is notice how Mark didn't go away from Drew. A lot of the mistakes on, the short balls is everybody hits to the open court, and that kind of would have allowed Drew to track the ball down. But going at Drew, Drew had to make some strategic moves to try to get out of the way, and so it was a pretty well placed ball there by Mark.
So kind of interesting, I think, for some of the people watching too. A lot of these spin shots that they're hitting, they're not necessarily trying to win the shot with the spin shots. They're just trying to keep them off balance, right? So that they have to play defense with the return rather than offense. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I mean, the game is never won in paddle. Matches are only lost if you really think about it. So, how can you, again, manage the points in the games, and it's really about just letting the other team have more chances to make mistakes. I think one of the best things I ever heard was a couple years ago, Drew, after winning his national title in Darien, not this past year, but the last time it was there, I went out and congratulated him on winning, and he said, I didn't win. And I gave him a perplexed look, and he said, I was just the only person that didn't lose.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting to hear that, because in reality, paddle matches are lost. They're not won. So yeah, just keeping that ball at a consistent pace, letting the other team make mistakes without giving them shots like that. And guys, what do you think? Like, I think these guys are some of the more exciting players out there.
Oh God, yes. I love watching Hughes and Powers. I like watching them actually from more playing at the baseline than for their net plays very good. They got great hands and all of that. I love watching John and Mark play when they lob, you can see them both kind of split, looking to set up that forehand. And I've only ever watched them. I've never played John and Mark, but I'm guessing you have, Blake.
I have, yes.
And my feeling is they make that court feel really small when you're back there hitting an overhead. Because if you don't hit that thing just right, they're cracking a forehand at you.
Wow.
That's why you
So I
want to keep
think
it
this
away
might
from
be
his
the game we're
forehand?
going to see. Yeah, we're going to see a couple treats. I'm sure everybody after seeing this will start getting a bucket of balls and hitting this.
So what's the chance that one of those two hits each other on an overhead down the middle?
I hope 0.
Yeah. John Hughes with the soccer skills.
So everybody take a look at this real quick.
There we go. If you could bottle that up, you could sell it for a lot of money.
Can you just do it to my partner once or no?
Oh, there's a great shot.
Yes.
And you can see what's interesting about the serve is even if they get there, there's not much you can do with it.
I'm like, oh, I'm gonna hit a good overhead.
Right, they're playing defense, not offense off the return
Right.
to serve. So if you play that out, let's assume we're a year or two down the road and more people had that serve. I mean, how does that change the complexion of the game? Or, well, you could do that. Or does it not because the rules are changed to disallow it somehow?
Well, this serve in particular is pretty weather dependent. You know, I know once it's colder, it's not going to jump as much. But when you're hitting that serve, I mean, height is your friend. The higher you can hit that, the higher it's going to bounce back over.
Martin was on a roll there with that serve.
I can do with it, so like I chose the last one.
I think something to note too is that this, you know, there's not many sports going on while this is going on. You know, I think all the professional leagues are still in a little bit of a lockout, so it's kind of exciting to see, you know, see some fun paddle action here.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think it bodes well for paddle this upcoming season, too. If people are looking for things to do outside that you can still socially distance, this is it, right? This is a great sport for that.
And for those who might not know too, when this serve goes back over the net, you are allowed to reach over the net as long as you don't make contact with the net. I think that's something important to know. So you can actually, you know, reach over if you can reach it at all with that height. But yes, so it's interesting. It creates a lot of panic.
Well, so the crazy thing about that is you can reach over the net, but you can't touch the net. So depending on how fast that thing kicks over, you have to be standing right at the net and reach without getting forward momentum, right? Because you can't touch it with your body.
Right.
Success takes hard work. Making success a legacy takes discipline. PPAC Private. Your legacy, our discipline.
Did you guys notice the irony there? The only non-American guy, the Swedish guy in the court, was using an American flag towel over there. So as
I have seen posts on his social media. I believe that's straight out of his pro shop.
So as we've been talking, Drew Broderick and Martin Bostrom, who are on the near side of the court right now, taking a fairly commanding 4-1 lead.
And you can see most of this 4-1 lead is just coming from mistakes
Right.
on the Hughes and Power side. Martin and Drew are hitting some pretty forcing shots, but they're also giving Hughes and Powers the ability to miss, and that's a pretty good recipe for success.
So as you're watching these 4 players, all obviously elite level players, Blake, who do you think is the biggest ability to create offense here out of these 4 guys? Who is the most offensive of these players?
Ooh.
The most
I would
defensive is
say-
easy. So
Yeah, I think we can all agree Drew plays the most defensive game, but in a sense, if you kind of look in depth, Drew's defensive ability is really what his offense is out there.
right.
He puts the ball, and I think he knows in this kind of situation, there's 2 other shots on the court that he's trying to set up, and that's Martin's forehand and backhand. But if you had to ask the most offensive, I mean, it's got to be either Mark Powers or Martin Bostrom, and I sort of lean towards Martin because I think he hits a little more offense on his overheads than Mark does. But I think those 2 kind of go toe to toe with the amount of spin they put on the ball at the net, and also, the pace of the forehands and backhands from the baseline.
Sure.
I'm here. Yeah, come on back. Sorry, boys.
Here's a question for you guys. In warm weather paddle, on a lob like that John just hit down the line and went over Drew's head, if that ball lands in and bounces out of the court, I know what the rule is, but do you think that should count as a good shot?
I don't want to spread fake news, but I think they changed the rule on it.
Oh, that's exciting.
That would be interesting if that's true.
I hope so, because
what
that's
Ben's-
a good shot.
Right. What Ben's referring to is a lob that goes in and has enough height. When it bounces in, it bounces out of the court. In years past, whoever lobs the ball loses the point. But I'm almost certain that rule has changed. I mean, look at that.
Wow, look at that spin.
He must have heard me when I said that Martin's got a little more offensive than that.
So is that a shot that's going to work at all in the cold weather, or just not nearly to that degree?
That backhand cut,
Right.
that'll work.
But not to that level of cut and kickback, though, right?
No, right. It won't move as much.
So then do you think if that rule is changed on the lobs, are people purposely lobbing higher, or does it just remove the penalty for hitting that same lob?
I think it just removes the penalty.
You kind of wonder if people are going to strategically try to hit it high enough to bring rain on the hope that it then goes out.
I think you have to be careful with it, though, because when I teach a lot of my players, I like to teach that with height comes depth. So you got to be careful. The higher you hit that ball, it's usually going to travel further and further. And you don't. Lobs are not meant to be winning shots, and I think that's kind of the first and foremost thought.
Right.
Gotta call that one out. This long? Yeah. Funny horse for sure.
At Veritext, it's not just a deposition. It's the witness that will win your trial. It's the reason you became a lawyer. It's your first case as a partner. It's that case that will make you partner. It's for the families who lost something. It's for that groundbreaking patent. It's for one of the largest companies in the world, or one of the smallest. It's something that will change someone's life forever. At Veritext, it's never just a deposition. We understand it's so much more.
All right, 5-2 now. Drew Broderick and Martin Bostrom up.
See, there's a summer volley from Mark. I don't see Mark missing that during the season.
No.
So here's another quick little thing for everybody to watch out on. When Drew gets balls hit over to his corner, watch how he strategically puts his lob down the line. And what that'll basically do is it forces the overhead to go across the court. And, like we just mentioned, that's over to Martin's forehand and backhand, which is what Drew's looking for. But not only that is, Drew has a backhand that he can hit from the middle. So when it does go to his corner, just keep an eye for all the players out there. Keep an eye out there because I know he likes to push it down the line and force it over to his partner.
Well, going back to a teaching moment, Blake, for the kind of club players, when he's lobbing that, he's making that move and Martin's making his move and he's putting pressure on them. He's not standing there watching his lob and then making a split-second decision to go drive it. He's lobbing with the expectation of looking to drive that next ball and put pressure on John and Mark.
Right, and partially is because he knows the ball's going to go back the other way, and he can kind of shift his body over. He doesn't have to wait and see if the ball's going to go to his corner. But we got first set all done. Broderick and Bostrom 6-2 over Hughes and Powers. So it'll be interesting to see what changes Hughes and Powers can make. Do you guys see anything that they can maybe adjust to that might help?
Like you said earlier, I think just if they tighten a few things up a little bit, they've just missed a couple of shots that you don't often see John and Mark miss. A couple of volleys here and there and a couple of little overheads that, summer paddle and stuff you don't normally see them miss. I think once you find Grand Prix time and nationals, those are all tightened up and ready to go.
There's the American flag toe. Big fan.
Maybe he's working. I think he's working on becoming a citizen, isn't he, Martin? Or is he not a citizen already?
Success takes hard work. Making success a legacy takes discipline. PPAC Private. Your legacy, our discipline.
Does he kick off the new set with one of the special serves here?
Oh, yeah. Here it comes. Nope. Suppose that adds an extra dimension to dialing it in, because as a returner, you're playing the return so much differently, right? Depending on which of the serves he hits, you're either sprinting forward or staying back, right?
Right, and it's interesting to see Mark hit these cuts like this too. Kind of forcing them to.
Is that something maybe
more defense?
Shot he's working on? Is that something he's usually hitting, a shot like that?
I think he normally hits it. I think he had a little bit of a shoulder injury or wear and tear the last year or so. But I mean, he's certainly capable of it, as we can tell.
Yeah. So we saw it there, and these guys are all friends, and it's a friendly match. But that same scenario happens in a real match. Is Drew lighting up John Hughes at the net when he barely gets the ball over like that?
Great move, dude.
Sorry, say that again, Noah?
On that serve, John barely got the ball back over the net. And Drew was right there. Obviously had John Hughes lined up in a kind of rough position from about 5 feet away. In a real match, is he hitting him?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a strategy that most people are gonna use.
I hit one good earlier, so my guy, I'm on it. You. You help.
Apparently, as much as it's not meant to be for a national championship, Drew's still upset at himself.
And you can see, I mean, he played that great. He let it drop to, the proper level to kind of attack it. He just didn't get his feet underneath him.
You know what I would like to see in the game of paddle is one of those kind of GoPro cameras attached to someone's chest when they play, and it shows how much spin that really these guys are hitting when you're seeing the ball off the screen. I don't think it does it justice from the normal angles. That's a great shot.
Yeah, you can see on that last ball, Martin just kind of flirted with a little too much danger.
Sorry, John. No. All good. Loves you. Yeah, keep moving.
Now I can see a little teetering of the seesaw here going, momentum swinging back in Hughes and Powers' direction.
You go.
So what are your guys' thoughts? I mean, league matches are obviously usually played at night. Tournaments usually played in conditions like this during the day. Sometimes a lot of sun. What's the preference for you guys? Day matches, night matches? What do you like?
Night matches all day. I would take a night match over a day match anytime I can.
I'll take the atmosphere of a night match, but sometimes for me, the lights kind of take they kind of beat me up a little bit on my serve.
Really? So you'd prefer a daytime match, Blake?
I think so. But I will say nothing beats playing under the lights and, in front of a big crowd, which most of these guys here have done.
We've talked about this before. The atmosphere at a Nationals quarterfinal on that Saturday night is unlike no other match.
On-court temperature 105.
At Veritext, it's not just a deposition. It's the witness that will win your trial. It's the reason you became a lawyer. It's your first case as a partner. It's that case that will make you partner. It's for the families who lost something. It's for that groundbreaking patent. It's for one of the largest companies in the world, or one of the smallest. It's something that will change someone's life forever. At Veritext, it's never just a deposition. We understand it's so much more.
Yeah, now you can see a quick swing towards Hughes and Powers, and I think with Drew and Martin, they're trying to go for a little too much, a little too heavy. Clearly they're capable of doing that, but in this weather, everything's got to be a little more precise and a little softer.
I know.
It's nasty.
I don't know if you heard during that changeover, but they talked about how warm it is. That it was about 100. It's about 90 degrees or so when they were playing this match. So you see balls more lively than usual. That's why.
Do you think you bring it out in a match? What? Do you think you're gonna bring it out in matches?
It's pretty consistent, it seems. I mean, if the score is right, then absolutely.
Yeah.
They're talking about Martin bringing out the big that big underhand serve with the spin.
What is it? Reload. All right.
Sounds like Martin with a sneak peek that we may see that serve during the season.
If the score is right.
That's correct.
Yes.
Does that mean 40 love or love 40?
I don't think you're going to see it at 4-all in the third set at Nationals.
There you go.
Yeah. Not yet.
I like it helped us this year, though.
Maybe that's when you should bring it out, though. Who knows?
No, I'll tell you what I'm, again, this is kind of middle of the pandemic, no other sports going on. I am very excited this season to see how, the Pro Flight Paddle Tour goes. I think over the last couple of years, it's just, the quality of matches is unmatched. You have new teams playing, which I am a big fan of. I love seeing different partnerships, pair up, see how it works. You can take the example of Tyler Frazier and Adam Morgan this year winning, I think, 2 Pro Flight Tour tournaments. But it really is, Pro Flight's something that, brings the top paddle players in the country together. And it's like watching, the quarterfinals through semifinals of nationals. It's, it's really special for those host clubs and, everybody who can attend.
The nice thing is the condensed nature of it makes it, I think, especially attractive if you want to go out and watch one of the matches if they happen to be within an hour or so or more drive of where you're at. It's certainly worth going to see live. You get a lot of great matches in and really get up close.
And Blake, you've played in a few of these PFP. How have you played the third set breaker format that they do?
So I have played one third set breaker. So it is, I don't even remember, it was a while ago. First to 15.
Yes, I believe so.
Win by 1, which I think is awesome.
That's great.
I played one this year. Martin and I played Scott Kaler and Sven Burish. And I'll tell you what, it's extremely hard because once you get to that 7, in your head, you have 5-6 points during the tiebreaker. You kind of tell yourself you have 1 or 2 points more.
Yep.
But I do remember we were up by maybe 2 or 3 and still had 7 or 8 points to go. So it's challenging on the mental side of things, but I really enjoy it. I think it's a great way to finish it off. It really, tests the top players and how they can control the points.
So the interesting thing, if you think about that, is 15 points is essentially 4 games, right?
Right, and that's if it's 15-0.
Right, correct. So, and it's a little bit shorter than a full set. It's not meaningfully shorter than a full set. It's not like a quick race like a normal 7-point tiebreaker sometimes seems like it feels like it is.
Yeah, and I think one of the things too to look at again for those watching, kind of a teaching point here is you have two lefty-righty teams, and your advantage of the lefty-righties, you can kind of cover more, and you can attack both corners. But I think one of the biggest disadvantages is drives down the middle. You normally have two forehands, and not only that, but most righties want to go to the ad side, most lefties want to go to the deuce side with their overheads. But as a lefty-righty team, if you switch the ball too much, there's really no way to set yourself up, with the constant movement. So, whatever team kind of sticks to a plan, I think is gonna pull this set out. But I'm seeing a lot of the ball side to side here.
Blake, I think to a point you made earlier about you kind of lose points rather than win points. While you were talking, Drew had another I think cut attempt into the net. I think it was the third time he said it today, and he commented, "You won't do that 4 times today." So it's those shots, you're giving away points there. It's an easy way to lose the match when you do that.
How about that get?
That is a great get.
Oh, just
So just like Martin said, he had John fooled. He did, but in the grand scheme of things, he fooled himself.
he still lost the point, so it doesn't matter how much you had him fooled, right?
Success takes hard work. Making success a legacy takes discipline. PPAC Private. Your legacy, our discipline.
You're already on to the hot dog right there. I need another water. Anybody? 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
You can see the heat getting into these guys already.
Oh, how do you miss that?
I think I like having the microphone this close. We have to get this more often.
Right?
It was beautiful.
What? John should have called it in just for the video.
It's funny.
So with a newer lefty righty team like Martin and Drew, Blake, who's in charge? Who's doing most of the calling and controlling that ship?
Typically I think we're used to seeing Drew kind of being in the driver's seat of these teams, but I think on this side he can allow, typically with Jared Palmer, Jared doesn't hit any sort of super attacking overheads, but
Right.
Martin has the ability to attack most balls. So I think Drew is kind of letting Martin, run the show at the net.
Yep.
Which to be honest, I think is great because, you got a guy like Drew playing a complementary role. I mean, there's not many guys that are going to, play it better than he does.
No, I was asking because you don't see that very often with Drew. Drew's normally the show.
And you could just see this heat's just make this ball is moving so much. Could that be a turning point right there, fellas?
Maybe. Didn't turn immediately if it did.
Maybe not. That return needed to go in.
So talk about that underhand serve a bit. You just saw a real solid underhand serve from Mark Powers. And I think that's Martin over there you can't see him, but he's on the bottom right of the screen. He obviously ripped a pretty good return. What advantage does the underhand serve have in a situation like that when you're still ripping the ball back or able to rip the ball back?
I think for me, they're not able to hit down on the ball. So they can hit it hard, but it's coming more straight at you. So the ball's not dipping down to your feet. So you're having to play that ball off your kind of knees or shoelaces. It's coming straight at you. So they can hit it as hard as you like. But as long as you've got up there in position, you're making an easier shot.
Makes sense. So once again, you're not trying to win anything with that serve. You're just trying to give yourself the better chance to keep the point going, right?
Yeah, correct.
And you guys can see again, look how often and frequent the ball is going side to side. And all it is, you know, A, you don't want to push the ball over to Martin's forehand, but B, John was just slow to slide over. And, you know, if you're going to let a guy like Martin hit a drive, you need to be there before he hits it, or else you're going to be in trouble.
I always like to hear other people's coaching terms. What do you call that when your players are hitting side to side? Blake?
What do I call it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I have a term for it.
You know, right? Like I refer to it as army paddle, right? Left, right, left, right, left, right.
Oh, I'll have to use that next time.
Ah, you like that, huh?
It's a British thing. The
English.
British
English.
Army. Oh.
Yeah, little army paddle going on.
One of these days, you'll have to explain the difference between British and English to me.
There are multiple YouTube videos out there for anyone that wants to look, explaining the difference for you.
Hey, Ben, maybe you can talk about it on a Great Paddle podcast. Isn't there a great new paddle podcast out there?
There is. We will discuss it one of these days on Inside the Wires.
Inside the Wires. Wow.
Once again, ball side to side, they almost get in trouble.
And that backhand comes out of nowhere. Like, there's no real backswing on it, and he just slaps through that shot, doesn't he?
Yeah, you know what? And it's one of the biggest snap shots I've ever seen. You know, his left hand just fires through that ball.
Right there, Martin. Good eye. Teeing off. That was intentional leading.
I think one of the things that's interesting to watch is as you see some of the top players hit overheads versus club players, when they're trying to put spin on the ball, the amount of knee bend they have, how they really torque their body. No, normal little push overhead, not so much like that. But when they're really trying to cut the ball, you can see a little knee bend there. Just a lot more than arm and shoulder. All right, maybe a comeback from 5-1, 5-2 now.
At Veritext, it's not just a deposition. It's the witness that will win your trial. It's the reason you became a lawyer. It's your first case as a partner. It's that case that will make you partner. It's for the families who lost something. It's for that groundbreaking patent. It's for one of the largest companies in the world, or one of the smallest. It's something that will change someone's life forever. At Veritext, it's never just a deposition. We understand it's so much more.
I'm fascinated by that towel Martin has. We have to get those. We have to market those on Inside the Wires.
Only if we can have an English one too. So at 5-2 here, down, but John's 5-2 up. What are they talking about? What's their game plan to try and close this set out?
Well, I think traditionally it's, you know, stick to the game plan, which is be patient for your shot. Unfortunately, I think in this weather and the fact that it's kind of a bonus match, I have a feeling they're going to be going for a little too much. Because I think that's what most of us would do. Do you guys think Mark Powers' forehand volley could get any more casual?
No, not at all.
I mean, it's so well struck every time, but it's so casual.
Oh, had the opening. So I think one of the greatest comments I think I've ever heard after a mistake is from Drew. It was, what tournament was that? Maybe at Boston last year. And he said, don't ever make a mistake on a shot that you're not trying to win the point on. And I thought it was interesting, like that little lob that was just a nothing lob that was wide. If you're not going to try to win the point, you're not going to win the point with that lob. Kind of going back to the idea of don't make mistakes. Certainly makes sense. You shouldn't give up points on something that you don't at least have a chance to win the point on.
Here it comes again.
Perfect.
I mean, that's just something special there.
And he's doing that serve against two of the best guys to have ever played the game.
Yeah.
There isn't just anybody. Like he's making these guys look silly at times with that serve.
So what do you think's most effective with that serve? We've seen Martin hit it a couple times really, really short. So it's within a couple feet of the net. And that last one he hit to Mark was more middle of the box, but it had so much kick on it. It hopped up high and then cleared over the net. Where's it most effective when it lands, do you think? Near the net or further away?
I mean, you don't want it too close to the net, I don't think, because then, you kind of allow your opponents to be able to hit down on the ball when it goes over the net. But you definitely want it in the first third. Anything past that, middle line of the service box is going to be attacked. But it looks like we're having a little comeback here. So
yeah.
Success takes hard work. Making success a legacy takes discipline. PPAC Private. Your legacy, our discipline.
5-1 to 5-4.
It's be interesting. And, all four of these guys are such gifted rackets players. I think every single one of them played college tennis. Mark Powers played at Yale. Drew Broderick at UConn. I should know where Martin Bostrom played.
Western Illinois.
I was going to say somewhere out there.
Yeah.
And John Hughes at Quinnipiac. So,
I don't know. I don't mind. I mean, I feel like
these guys have made a fairly decent adjustment over to the game of paddle. And they continue to adjust. I think that's what makes the good players really good, is they're able to, constantly adjust with what, how the game's moving.
And it doesn't look like John Hughes has missed any gym time. He looks in good shape.
I think he's actually taking Martin Bostrom's slots too, so that could be why.
Okay. Or he's just buying smaller T-shirts.
There's nobody who buys smaller T-shirts than Mick Ordoya, though. that has to be out there.
I think Will Colmar might make a run for the money on that one.
But does he have the Estonian V-neck that goes almost down to your belly button?
Sometimes we might have to have a T-shirt off with those guys. Yeah, see who has the smaller and deeper V.
So part of the reason I remember where Martin went to college is either you guys know the nickname of Western Illinois' athletic teams?
The Golden Badgers.
Close.
Ah,
The White Rhinos.
Even closer. The Fighting Leathernecks.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean that's quite a nickname.
all right.
So how many times did that ball move back and forth?
Too many would be the answer to that.
That would be a great answer.
Yeah.
And I think, again, when you have righty-righty teams, you rarely see the ball move side to side because it's too difficult to handle. But with a lefty-righty team, I think, you have them a little more susceptible to moving it side to side because it's easier for the lefty to go one way and the righty to go the other. So, again, for everybody kind of watching, it's something to look out for if you're ever playing. Try to pick a target and try to stay there because the better positioned you can be at the net, the easier it is to cover not only your volleys, but your overheads as well.
Yeah, I always tell my players the plus side of a lefty-righty combo is you can attack both sides. The downside of a lefty-righty combo is you can attack both sides.
Right.
And you've got to communicate and have a very disciplined game plan. That's a good volley.
Yeah, Mark's not happy with that return, but that was an awfully good shot by Drew with that cut.
So outside of the evolution of this serve with the cutter and the underhand serve, are there any other things that you guys think about that that's going to change in the game over the next couple of years?
Tough question, actually. I don't know. I mean, I think there was definitely a couple of years where the roller overhead dominated. And now it seems that, again, people are going more towards, hitting drop shots. I can definitely say, after playing in a lot of these, high-level matches that more and more guys can and will hit the cut drop shot. You used to only have a couple guys that could do it, and now there's a ton of guys who can do it and are willing to do it. So I think it's that's a little exciting, but hard to tell if there's going to be a new shot that comes into play.
What I was thinking, I'll tell you the way I was.
Nearly had Drew lose a hand there as Martin was going for the overhead.
Yeah, but then you know what? Drew made a perfect adjustment to move
right
totally out of the way and let Martin start attacking that zone.
Right.
Get back.
Ooh.
I like the effort, just wrong spot. too deep in the court for that.
35.
Again, he's practicing something. I don't know if you'll see, he's dialing that in for the season. He's practicing to improve. And this is one of the best players to play the game, practicing something to improve.
45.
Did he just make that?
No.
He did.
I wasn't sure if it. No, it's. You got it. You got it. Oh, you mean it. Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, what a shot.
It's
Wow.
that on my face.
Is that a good volley or is that better aim from John Hughes?
Let's see it again here.
I mean, how does this not take his head off?
That was purely self-defense.
Did that come off the grip? That was a great shot. I don't know how much he knew about it.
Hey, remember, you pay for the whole racket.
That's
Yes.
right. Use it.
At Veritext, it's not just a deposition. It's the witness that will win your trial. It's the reason you became a lawyer. It's your first case as a partner. It's that case that will make you partner. It's for the families who lost something. It's for that groundbreaking patent. It's for one of the largest companies in the world, or one of the smallest. It's something that will change someone's life forever. At Veritext, it's never just a deposition. We understand it's so much more.
So all of a sudden from 5-1, you have 6-5. Is that, what do you think that was? Was that Drew and Martin just tightening up a little bit, or was it John and Mark playing a little looser? What happened there?
I think you have Hughes and Powers just trying to go for a little too much and putting the balls in the wrong spot.
Well, they did exactly what you said, right? They try to win it.
Right. And you know what, listen, you can't really blame anybody, because I've definitely been on the other side of things where, if you hang back and you try not to lose,
Correct.
sometimes, one of my favorite quotes from my ex-boss, Drew's brother Dave, is, staying in the point forever at a certain level is just going to prolong losing. And if you think
I like
about
that.
That's a good line.
if you really think about it, at this level, if Hughes and Powers just keep every ball in, eventually Drew and Martin are going to get a short enough ball where they just put it away, or vice versa. So, you have to play to win, but you have to play smart. That's really what it comes down to. You can't, playing to win doesn't necessarily mean, cutting the ball until it comes back over the net, but it might mean, looking for certain shots, setting up certain balls. And I think, John and Mark are just going for a little too much, and they're kind of falling behind here.
Watch it. Yep. I'm back.
You can see Drew getting totally out of the way.
Can we also talk for our our club players on how early these guys set that paddle when they're hitting the overheads?
Yeah, specifically Mark Powers too. Watch when that ball comes over, how his paddle just locks and loads when he's about to hit that cut.
Right. It's not a split second decision at the end. He's got that thing locked and loaded and ready to go the whole time.
Wow.
That's a great shot. Got a little seam in there too.
Oh,
That was well struck too.
It's always entertaining listening to Drew's commentary on his own shots, isn't it?
A great move by Martin.
I think you jinxed him.
But also, I mean, you got to add in, I just think dumb shot from John too. That's kind of the theme I'm sensing here is it's really just about which team at net is able to control where they're going with the ball better. And, so far Drew and Martin are controlling it a little more. And, I think a lot can speak for coming back from down 5-1. So, hopefully John and Mark could kind of turn it around here and, extend the match.
Success takes hard work. Making success a legacy takes discipline. PPAC Private. Your legacy, our discipline.
I think one. Love one. To you? Yeah, to me, right? Okay, partner. Love two.
Oh, my serve. You serving one.
Two serving one.
Evan, you gotta watch the point here so that you know the score, not the monitor. No, I'm trying to help him.
Just call the score. Yeah. Call the score. Yeah.
2-1. Now. You watch one. Yep. 3-1.
You got a lot of missed serves, a lot of missed returns today, but I think a lot of that can contribute to the heat.
It's like still a good volley regardless.
Two serving three. You.
This will also be interesting to watch because this is usually when Hughes and Powers are at their best. When they're playing slightly from behind, trying to get back into it.
Yep. I gotta say, I think there's a shot that Drew hits that doesn't get talked about as much with his game, and his lob is so good.
Oh, you're such a.
He's very casual with it. He has a lot of little underspin on it, but he lobs very, very well.
Well, he hits the variety of lobs well too. I mean, he doesn't just hit the high loopy lobs. He hits the low, more direct lob.
Right.
Kind of force the play a little quicker.
But everyone always talks about, Drew's volleying, Drew's overhead, the backhand. But, I think the lob, he uses that lob very nicely.
Does he get another one?
Wait, what was it when the score is right? Apparently at 5-2 in the tiebreaker, it's right, huh?
Yeah. See, that's just too many balls to the wrong spots.
Yep.
6-2 for the
Here it
match.
comes.
That's the right time for it.
Oh.
3-6.
At Veritext, it's not just a deposition. It's the witness that will win your trial. It's the reason you became a lawyer. It's your first case as a partner. It's that case that will make you partner. It's for the families who lost something. It's for that groundbreaking patent. It's for one of the largest companies in the world. or one of the smallest. It's something that will change someone's life forever. At Veritext, it's never just a deposition. We understand it's so much more.
This is the hardest time, during a match, when you have these couple of match points to really, finish. Finishing a match is one of the hardest things to do. So, I'm curious to see if Drew and Martin stick to the plan, or if they go for, the all or nothing ball.
Yep. Real quick on Mark's underhand serve. He's generally serving out wide on that deuce side and down the tee on the ad. Is there a reason behind that, Blake?
I think it's just, that's his best angle.
Right.
Like we said, righty going to the deuce side, it's easier to pull out wide. That's a great overhead. But no, I like to teach a lot of my players that down the tee is always better than out wide. Minimize where the return can go.
Engage the net player.
Right. It's always easier to have two guys cover one ball than, one guy cover the return. So. See, this is the kind of point, though, from John and Mark that we haven't seen much.
Nope.
Right. Is nice and patient. Wait for your chance. Mark's definitely not afraid to put some juice on it.
You certainly wouldn't know he's
Wow.
down 6-4 in the tiebreaker.
6-5. 2 volleys.
Just like he said, 2 volleys missed, and we're almost back. There it is.
That's it.
Game, set, and match. Broderick Bostrom. Guys, that was a great match to watch. Again, we're looking forward to a super, super exciting season of paddle coming up. I think, paddle's going to be definitely in a good spot after this, and even through this pandemic. But, those are four of the best players out there right now, and it'll be a great year to see who can accomplish what.
Absolutely. Catch us on Inside the Wires. Noah, Blake, and Ben. Thanks.